You received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up.
Well, hello, Eric. Oh, I'm doing just fine. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world, but fortunately, we've got our own little neck of the woods to care for, and they can they can deal with what they need to out there, just as long as it doesn't overlap. Well, that's good. I like when people say they have resources that they're taking advantage of in there because as minor as it may seem, and as much of a waste of time as you might think, it actually does serve a purpose. And we've got people in there that are in prison for the rest of their life, but they're getting multiple master's degrees, or they're getting uh, maybe even training to be a jailhouse lawyer, doing some law stuff or doing some legal research. And I hate when I hear that the library or some of the resources are being cut back. And with Washington State, the budget for the Department of Corrections should not be cut at all. I know there's really not a lot that's available, but that shouldn't be an issue. And we need to let our legislators know, and our lobbyists, that it pays to have people get out of prison with the proper training and to be able to connect with folks out here and agencies that will assist them. I just don't like people are being labeled for the rest of their life for something they did, and they were caught, they were locked up, and they served their time. It shouldn't be a forever sentence. Okay, I can definitely see that. I would say families do have a big part in helping people to recover. But there's a lot of animosity. I've noticed when a person gets arrested, the family kind of looks at it as an embarrassment or kind of a failure that they've tried really hard to keep the person straight and proper, and then they get hooked on drugs, or they want to try to beat the system and commit crimes that just don't fit in with the family values, and that can put a wedge between the relationships. And then you got one side that thinks they're innocent and the other side that thinks they're guilty. It's nasty. And I know I work with that the best I can, but that's something that you guys have just got to work on your own. And that's a big thing too. There are a lot of people in there who were just treated really badly by the justice system. And I don't know what it is with the state, why due process is not something that works with them. I mean, I haven't been arrested for anything and I'm not up for trial. Yet when I deal with the DOC, they're just creating things, and they're even violating their own policy, violating law, and just ignoring things that we pay them to do. And for me, it's just an inconvenience because I can work around it. But for you guys,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
when you're expecting a letter in the mail and they just hide it or return it without following proper procedure, or if you're looking to call an agency or write a department a letter and you're not able to do that, or they're putting some restrictions on it, that is very discouraging, and it doesn't help with your state of mind knowing that there's resources available to help
You have 30 seconds remaining.
and you can't get to them. Well, okay, yeah, time does fly. I do appreciate the call. It's nice hearing from you. And you know me, I'm going to keep fighting the fight out here. Well, good, yeah. Keep in contact with your family and see what they can do to help you out. That's right, every little bit helps. Okay, well, take care of yourself and hopefully we'll be able to talk again soon.
Thank you for using inmate call. Goodbye.
Hello, welcome to AQS Inmate Call, and I am your host, Joel Wilborn. And in this episode, I am concerned about recent events. Now, usually I like to piggyback on things that are going on in the world. If there's something that people are protesting or they're bringing to attention of their legislators, or they just want to get the word out there, maybe it's all over the social media. And if it relates to some of the stuff that I'm working on, like with the Department of Corrections, I like to just jump on that bandwagon and keep it riding. And it does work. If the people are interested in, let's say, maybe a documentary was on Netflix and people are concerned about the treatment within prison, I can look at that and say, okay, now people are talking about it. Let's give some more examples. Let's get the word out there. And while people are fighting or researching, we'll just jump right in. And it's like having a bottle of water and you're walking down a path next to a river, and then you just walk over to the river and dump the water in there. It's not going to make that big of a difference to the river, but it's something that will work in the field of advocacy and prison reform. Because once there's a flow going and you add something very similar to it, it gets easy to be picked up and resolved. And the thing I'm looking at is we're concerned about people being deported from the United States to another country because of gang affiliation or crimes that they've committed or the fact that they just came into the United States illegally. Now, I look at due process. Now, if these people did something wrong, you can put them before a judge, put them before a jury, just give them some kind of chance to defend themselves. And if they're guilty, then the punishment could be to deport them. And not a lot of people are going to argue with that. If you want a majority of the people to support you, just follow the rule of law, follow due process. And if the person, let's say, was innocently picked up or picked up by mistake, then doing the due process, you can clear this up. And the people who picked up the individual, the people who are pro due process or against deportation, it'd be tough for them to fight when a person is found innocent. Now, I relate that to the situations that I have. I have people who are locked up and they'll talk to organizations like the Innocence Project or they'll get a retrial. And working that process, the more I do it, the easier it is for me. And so I do enjoy when somebody calls me up and says that they felt that they didn't get a fair trial or they didn't commit the crime. And I can work with that quite easily. So what I do on this particular situation, I look at due process. One side, they want due process to occur. The other side said these people are guilty. They came into the country illegally, so they need to go out no matter what. Well, when I pipe in, when I pour my bottle of water into the river, I'm saying that when a person is arrested, and I guess a particular one is like a teenager, when a child is arrested, I think a child should automatically get legal representation. If the person's 18 or older, they're expected to make decisions on their own. They should be given the choice. Do you want an attorney or not? But a child shouldn't be given that choice. Children don't need to be making major decisions like that. That's for an adult. A child gets arrested, a parent, a guardian, uh, maybe a social worker, somebody needs to be contacted to sit the person down. Yeah, they could have picked up this child with the standing over the body, holding the murder weapon, the victim's blood all over the body or all over the child. Yeah, could obviously look guilty, but still, I think that should just be the thing because I've been dealing with a lot of people who were arrested as children and they weren't given a chance to talk to an attorney. Their parents or guardian or anybody that was caring for them, even a relative, weren't contacted. And so, to me, this particular case is like these people that are being deported. They're not being given an opportunity to defend themselves. Some of them make agreements that are just bad, and other ones they have to wait a little while. Maybe the law will change, or maybe somebody will come to help them out. And that's my current situation. Now, in some cases, people who are full-fledged adults will come in and they'll get arrested and they'll go through the proper due process. But you'll have folks out there that are just, they want this thing to be quickly resolved. And so they're saying things, hiding things, putting things aside. When I was in law enforcement, I really wanted due process. I wanted the person to have a fair trial because it felt bad to me to have somebody locked up in prison who was innocent. We need to stress that innocent people should not be locked up. Everybody should be given a fair chance. Now, in my particular case, I was working with a lot of these women, talking to them that are innocent, talking to them who are guilty, but they're not getting proper resources, helping people when they get out of prison. There's a lot of different things I handle on this. And suddenly, the Department of Corrections wants to stop me from communicating with them. I don't call the people who are in prison, and they can block me if they want on email or mail. So for the Department of Corrections to go through all this trouble to block me from communicating to the people in the prison, it just blows my mind. It doesn't make any sense. Because if the people don't want to talk to me, they're not going to reach out to me. There are millions of people all across the United States who are in prison, and not all of them want to talk to me. So to go through the trouble of blocking me from communicating with these folks and not telling anybody that deprives me of the due process. And so I feel that I can relate to the people that are locked up in there, how frustrating it is to read the rules, read the policy, read the laws, follow them to the T, and just be shot down. In the prison, they don't have an alternative. They can't hire an attorney to go fight. I can. And so I always look at this as just a bump in the road. This is just something that's going to slow me down, but it's not going to stop me. It will never stop me. And And when I see situations in the news like this deportation, I can highlight these things. Now, for me, my little situation, I've already got that under control. But I do have a person that I'm working with right now. She came to the United States a few years ago. She got married, she started a family, and she's was quite happy, but things got into a problem, just like, and we can't say that nobody ever has a problem in a marriage. These things happen. And she goes to prison, and so she's fighting. She's trying to prove her innocence, but she's not heard. Or in a lot of cases, attorneys will think, well, I can't get any money because this person was tried, convicted, and sentenced. And so why spend all this time and money on something that's already done? And trying to find new evidence is really difficult with her. But she's determined. She knows she's innocent and she wants to keep fighting. So she calls me to do an interview with her or to get her message out there. And her name is Vanessa Valdeiglesias Lavelle. And you can see her story on my YouTube channel. The thing that I'm relating to this current event is she feels that when she's released from prison after serving her time and she's ready to buckle down and fight the conviction, get it expunged possibly, she's concerned that the U.S. government will apprehend her and deport her. And she pretty much fits their situation where they do deport people because she did come to the United States and technically she committed a crime and was convicted. The only thing is she didn't get a chance to go through the process of becoming a citizen. I mean, she was married to an American citizen, but he wound up setting her up. And so her situation really looks bad. But she wants to stay in the United States. But she's one of those that she expects, or while she's planning both sides. She can get out, get citizenship, be happy. If not, she's prepared to go back to her home country. And I can throw her story out there. That's what I was telling her. I said, this is a good time to get your story out there. And I hope you'll listen to her story on this podcast and you'll go to the YouTube channel and listen to her and throw in some help. Just simply send her an email and she'll give you a call and you can talk to her. And for her to sit in there and think, nobody cares, I'm going to be sent back, my American dream has been shot. This is an opportunity to get involved with a direct person. We hear about these people being deported, and we'll get a name and we'll get a little bit of what the people are accused of doing, maybe hear from a family member, but we don't really know that person's story. And we might have a chance, maybe if the person is deported and winds up coming back and sitting down with a reporter and hearing about how the person crossed the border and was scared of being deported and went to to find sanctuary. And it could be a very fascinating story where you think, let's help this person. Let's get this person to have the American dream. And that would be great, but it's already over because the person was deported and come back. I'm offering to help before a deportation, helping a person who is reaching out and saying, this is my story, this is what happened to me, I need your help. And we know that when people are deployed for a war, let's say Uncle Bob is sent over to fight for the United States in a foreign country, and Uncle Bob gets a letter from you or gets a box of treats from you, that means a lot to Uncle Bob because he feels he's not alone. He feels that there's somebody who is rooting for him, and that when he's feeling overwhelmed, he can think back on these packages, these letters, the good times he had, and it can help him get through the day. And Vanessa's asking for that. It's really not a lot. She'll call me once or twice a week. We do e-messages here and there. And it's nice to listen to her and have her just be heard and be able to say things that's on her mind. And she told me about some of the issues that she's dealing with down there. And for one thing, it's like adding insult to injury because she gets locked up. She was framed when you hear her story. And then she goes into an American prison and she's just treated like a second class citizen. Maybe not like that. That might be too good for what's happening to her. But she's treated really bad. But she likes to help people. There's people that come to her and ask if they could get a profile uh, published on social media, and she'll ask me if I can help out or if I can get a message to somebody's friend or relative. And just a little bitty thing just to try to make her life a little more comfortable. And with a social media audience, there could be a lot of people that could reach out to her. And that could really mean a lot to her. And you could help drawing attention to her. There's a possibility that when she does walk out of prison, she won't be deported. And that her case will be reviewed and she can get this criminal charge thrown out. And maybe the one who put her there, her ex-husband, could find justice. Well, we don't know till we try. And that's why I'm reaching out. I want due process for everybody. This one person we'll talk about. I'm working on some of the teenagers that were locked up. They're a little nervous about talking. They're kind of concerned about what will happen. And so I'm listening to them, and I talk to other people in the prison, and they're saying, oh, this person does this, has a habit of coming out and disappearing and coming out and dumping people. Okay. But I don't want to push anybody to share their story. But there are some social magazines or some those news programs and documentaries that discuss the folks that were locked up as a child and discuss very odd situations and bad childhoods and stuff that affect people. And you know, it's I saw a public service announcement where they were talking about domestic violence. A child watches domestic violence within the home, and it's traumatic. And this child could grow up and become an adult and contribute to the domestic violence, or kind of get so discouraged or bad, maybe wound up going on a crime spree or committing suicide, or just fading out of the community, just kind of becoming a loner or homeless or depressed. And we can help prevent that by working with people looking for the signs. And one of the best ways to find people that are in trouble are those that are just looking at prison. And these people are going to come out, and these people are going to go back to their families, or they're going to start families. Are we going to get more crime, or are we going to get less crime? It's up to us. Look in that mirror and ask yourself what you can do. One simple thing is get onto a Securus account and send out a message. Talk to the folks. I would really like you to talk with Vanessa and hear her story from your point of view, and ask her questions and think about it. Are there more like her in there? Is this something that you're willing to work with? The only way you'll know is just to try it, and it's not going to hurt you. It doesn't really cost that much to send a Securus message out, and every little bit helps. That's what it is. We need the United States to be known for due process, for giving people a fair trial. It's slowly disappearing, and every once in a while it comes into the news. Now it's a hot topic. Let's get on this wagon and keep it going. Well, thanks for tuning in, and have yourself a marvelous day, and go out and make fantastic memories for tomorrow.